Okay.
I think attendance, that's the first one.
I'll give the date.
Okay, welcome to the DEI Commission meeting for November 15th at 7 p.m. Let's take attendance. I'm just waiting for her correctly. William Page is not here. Kerem not here. Kermit Apio.
Here.
Scott Matsuda.
Here.
Teresa Courtney.
Here.
Bonita Francisco.
Here.
Motion, do we have a motion to excuse William Page?
I move to approve approve excusing William. I second.
I should have asked, do we have a second, right? Yes, okay, so, motion's approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any nay? No? Okay, so.
Thank you.
This is so.
We've got two more folks here for our attendance.
Oh, so I should have said like Erin, Mary, and Carolyn Hope.
I'm here.
Oh, yes, sorry for that.
That's okay, you're doing
That's
great.
right.
Yeah. You'll never know if you don't try it.
Yeah, no.
There's always a first time. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's always easier, right?
Yeah.
It's always the best because it's your first. It's always the best.
Okay, we'll see about that. Oh, the word is call to order. That's what I was supposed to say. Okay, and then. Oh, you were supposed to do attendance roll call. I'm sorry.
Definitely.
Now I'm reading
It's okay.
lower. Okay.
I like that. Right. I'll go on it. It's so no in Zoom room. I've received no emails, and it doesn't appear that anyone is here for public comment.
Okay. Uh, do we have a motion again? Okay, do we have a motion to approve October 18th, 2023 meeting minutes?
I'll motion to approve the October 18th
Do I have a
meeting
second?
minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against, say nay. Is that the phrase?
Opposed.
Opposed, yes.
Yeah.
All opposed, say nay. Okay.
And then just to, I like to ask for if there's any abstentions, which is if somebody wasn't here, then they would abstain. Also, I just really like that word, so I try and use it whenever I can.
Okay, well, thank you. Do I have any abstentions? No, like, looks like you approved the minutes.
Sorry, who seconded that?
Teresa
I
seconded.
did, yeah.
I don't know why I feel so embarrassed.
Don't embarrass. We're all, everyone is doing that at some point.
Doing great.
On the first topic. Do you want to go through the agenda?
Okay, so we're gonna discuss and move to, recommend DEIC's proposed roles with proclamations. Oh, proposed roles, yes, that's the proposed roles. So like the last meeting, we discussed the certain roles that we might want to get involved with, so we're gonna take votes basically to see which ones we want to which ones we want to participate in. So the first item is review DEI related proclamations annually and recommend to City Council in December of each year. Can I take a, let's vote on to see if you want to get involved in that step.
I move that the DEIC Commission recommend to the City Council that we review proclamations.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
So now we can
Oh.
talk about discussion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes. Did we want to
Thank
discuss
you.
it? Yes.
Let's discuss it.
I should invite you to the next PTA like state legislation, because it breaks your brain of how much time they move and request to discuss.
I think once a month.
They
is
had
enough.
like 36 motions to one, amendments to one motion. So we talked a little bit about this last time,
Yes.
and I thought it seemed like a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, and we're talking about the wording of the proclamations and which ones they.
Yes, which ones and the word.
And also the wording, yeah,
Mhm.
no,
The wording is gonna be the second item, actually.
it actually,
Right now, we're only voting on which ones, basically, we wanna get involved in the list.
recommending which, okay.
And then this would just be a recommendation from our commission, and the city would also do whatever they wanted, which may or may not involve things that we bring forward.
My understanding is the city has the ultimate decision.
The city council
Yeah.
does.
Yes,
But we're just saying that as a commission, we want to have a voice. We want
to be able to,
our
Give our
commission's
input.
work to include the voice of giving input.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
Mhm.
Now I ask for vote, right?
Good list.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
What was all
Opposed?
Opposed. That were here. All opposed, say nay. Do I have any abstentions? No, okay, so. Looks like all in favor. The second one is to review the draft language of the related proclamation prior to staff submitting to council.
I move that we review the.
Do I have a motion?
That we
Yes.
were.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Let's discuss.
So would we review them just in some sort of time frame prior to them being presented to council at meetings that would be appropriate?
Yes.
Or is this review for all of them that is upcoming for the next year?
Yeah, just like we had the last two meetings, a month or two before the
Mhm.
proclamation, I bring the
Mhm.
language to you. Ideally, like 2 weeks ahead, so that way we have time and we have an idea of who we might want to recommend to council that receives the proclamation. We have a little more time to like track those folks down. They're going into council about those things, so.
Speaking of that, can I ask a question about, did we get that family that did the murals? Did they want to get involved?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I reached out to somebody who knew them, and that was all the last I heard about it.
Would that be appropriate if we just like knock on the door? Because that's what I do usually, like shamelessly.
Yeah, I mean, we can also ask council, like if you have an idea but you don't have a connection, we can ask council members if they know of certain people as well. I just need a little more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last, for the Native American Heritage Month, we ended up presenting it to our finance director, who is an Alaskan Native.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Okay,
That's
thanks.
great.
It's great. We got to learn a little bit about the community that she came from as part of that process, and it was really nice.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
that's
guys
neat.
for recommending.
Mhm.
okay, let's, is the verb take a vote or the, put the vote? A call a vote, okay.
There's many ones.
Hold on a second.
I should have brought you the cheat sheet.
Yeah, let's, I'm calling this a vote. So do we want to review the language before it's presented? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Do I have any abstentions? No, okay, so it's like we will. The third item is recommend potential recipients for proclamations to staff to share with council. Do I have a motion?
A motion to recommend potential recipients.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Let's discuss.
I think it's a great idea for us to be able to recommend broadening the base of resources to connect with our community is a good thing. So.
Yes. And I think this is the commission to do it.
And this is essentially what we've been doing, right? This is,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I see.
We just want to make sure
It
we
just-
voted for the
Yes.
decision.
it just wasn't formalized.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So I think this is a good idea because this will force us to actually go and meet people to recommend.
Right.
Potentially, yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Yes, so you have a challenge to meet this family in the next year.
Don't challenge me. Yeah, I'm part realist, we just knock on everyone's door.
Right. Yes, and put that, yes, on the list before we need to actually.
There you go.
Okay, so let's call this for vote. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? No? Okay, so this one also passed. Finally, work with staff on meaningful ways to celebrate or commemorate the purpose of the proclamation. Do I have a motion for this
I
one?
move that we.
Good.
do
Do I have a
that.
second?
I'll second.
Let's discuss.
I'm kind of wondering what we mean with the language of meaningful way.
Yeah, and I'm certainly open to different interpretations of that, but just that, I think that there was. You can eliminate the words, it was just a way to talk about like, if there was something additional besides having a proclamation, what would that be?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
And honestly, that might be another opportunity to reach out, because it's sort of like talking to the group specific to see what might be most meaningful to them.
yes.
Or if what we've thought about doing, if they would find that meaningful. So,
Okay, let's call this for vote as well. All in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay, all opposed say nay. Any abstentions? No, this one also passed. So we formalized that we want to get involved in all these 4 steps as a commission. Okay. Am I dominating? No, it's very recording. Okay, just cut me off if I'm just crossing a boundary or something. Okay. So now we're going to discuss and move to recommend to council the 2024 DEI related proclamations. Does everyone have a list of them?
Did I get recording?
You are.
Okay. Sorry.
Where did it say recording in progress? Does it stop share? Oh, that one, I see, now I see that.
Well, and the owl said it at one point.
Okay, yeah, all right, thank you. Sorry, I'm paranoid.
Yes. We didn't even unmute ourselves, like half the meeting. And we blame him actually for not being able to hear us. Okay, so this is the proposed list, so let's. Move to recommend. So do I have a motion to review this? Or was that an unnecessary question?
I move that we
Review the list?
review the list and.
There's a motion right here.
Yeah, that's the notion.
I move that the DEI Commission recommend to the city council the following DEI related proclamations for 2024.
I think we should discuss it before we move it then, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh, okay,
For public meetings, you have to move, and I'll second it, and then you can have discussion.
okay.
And if you guys get that down, you can come teach the council.
Oh, wow. This is recorded. They can- Okay, so you seconded it, right? You moved, okay, so Terrace moved that we discussed it and wanted to second it. So let's discuss any thoughts about this list, concerns?
It's Children's Day. What's the yes, I know, I'm Asian, so we have a boys day and a girls day. But for Children's Day, I assume we're just kind of celebrating the people who are children in
Yes.
our city.
But isn't it
But
based
it's-
sort of on there being some
Other traditions
cultures
that we.
that
Yes.
actually observe a Children's Day?
Yes.
Yeah,
So, but we're not gonna, are we gonna pick one,
like a culture?
like a culture? Or are we're just celebrating children, so I'm not sure how we go about.
That's a good question.
We did talk about that at the last meeting. Let me see if I can pull up the old presentation. There were different months of the year that certain cultures celebrated Children's Day
Yeah.
for sure. And then there was an International Children's Day, which I think was in December, if I'm not mistaken. But I think there was a feeling that was it April?
April.
that we chose?
Mhm,
yeah.
April was I think Turkey, Mexico.
There were some other
A
countries
couple other
listed.
countries.
Uh-huh.
And we thought we could write a whereas in the proclamation that there are several, many cultures that celebrate Children's Day at different months and times of the year. This is the month that these cultures celebrate it, and it's just a time for us to do it. I mean, we could have chosen any one of the months,
Yeah.
probably, but
So I don't think it's going to be like a specific culture, like it's going to be about the children
Yeah,
themselves. And then we can
So-
create our own tradition.
But it sounds like maybe the proclamation lists some of the cultures that do observe it.
yeah.
yeah,
So this
Yeah.
time is new, right? For this year?
I'm sorry.
The
Yeah,
asterisk?
the stars are the new.
Yeah.
The Native American Heritage Month, we already did it, so.
We just did it.
Oh, that
But
was
it-
it. I see.
It's new in the year, in the
Yeah.
last
I
year.
see.
New to, your group was the first to move that forward, so, yeah.
and some clarification about welcoming week. Welcoming new people to the city.
That is.
The immigration thing, right?
Yeah, that is the Welcoming America initiative.
Oh, the welcoming
And,
America,
and
yes.
that was
Got it.
for immigrants and refugees
Yeah.
specifically, but also more generally, just people of diverse ethnic and cultural backgrounds.
Got it.
So,
Do we have any concerns that June has two?
no.
Well, Juneteenth is sort of a specific day.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
Yeah,
we've already been celebrating.
We've,
Yeah.
we've done both of those before.
What exactly is Lunar New Year? How does that apply to what we do?
The Lunar New Year is, what the Chinese and
Right.
Vietnamese celebrate, some other cultures as well, but it is the biggest cultural holiday for those communities. And in my former job, I had an opportunity to work with some community connectors that were Vietnamese, and they felt like that was a great way to bring the community together. And in that particular community, they're less likely to engage in community activities because there's a little bit of a fear of engaging in the public.
Okay,
And so that was a way that this set of community connectors I was working with, thought it would be more likely that we could make more connections with the Vietnamese community and show that we respect their culture. So,
that's awesome.
and I think the council's done a lunar, no?
it says it's
I don't
new,
think
yeah.
so. Yeah, that was in, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before as a commission, though. I think we talked about it last year,
Okay,
but I think I'm the only one who here that,
yeah,
Yeah.
who's here tonight.
yes.
any more questions or concerns?
Good.
If not, let's call a vote. All in favor of this list, say aye.
I,
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, so this one, we all agreed. Are you happy that I'm saying
I am.
abstention?
She smiles.
I'm gonna start using it too.
Next item on the agenda is discuss the EIC proposed 2024 activities and event activities. We have Andrew and Carolyn. So let's see. Oh, so Commissioner Francisco also has some stuff to talk about.
Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
So my name is Andrew Rockwood. I'm the events coordinator for the city of Mountlake Terrace. Been in this role now for about 8 months. Worked over at the pavilion for the last 4 years prior to that. Overseeing the front desk registration operations. So got hired on in March to take on this role. So we just wrapped up our summer events and we have our tree lighting coming up. All of which the community has come out in force for, which has been great to see coming out of the pandemic and really engaging. A lot of businesses have wanted to engage as well, which has been great to see. Support throughout the community and the businesses that we do have. And we just have tree lighting coming up here a little bit. And so I'm looking at my 2024 work plan as well to see kind of how I can support just different boards and commissions and the resource aspect of it a lot. As well as my job in putting on other events throughout the year for the city.
And Andrew is the first person to have that role.
Yes.
So,
The job has previously been kind of divvied up between multiple staff members, and so now having some person kind of navigate that has been a great experience, and being able to work with different departments across the board has been really good too. So. Yeah.
I don't want to reverse my slides on this a little bit, so. Tonight we were gonna, I'll just give a little overview and then we can dive in a little bit, but, we were gonna talk about. Going back to what you just voted on to think about how we commemorate these, holidays and special days, with something meaningful. So just what are things that we would want to sponsor? What are things we would want to partner with other cities or organizations with? Across the border for, and then what do we want to be involved with, but maybe not lead? And I think this is important because in the short time that the new folks have been involved, there's been a lot of events that have come forward and opportunities to volunteer. So just thinking about how we pace ourselves and thinking about where I think like Chair Page said in one of the meetings, like where there's gaps in our region that we could fill and not have to worry about duplicating efforts of our neighbors. So that was some of the conversation in the past couple of meetings. I did send the agenda packet, some links for you to do some homework on what's going on in the region. And then I did just want to share the events that Andrew is working towards for this coming year, just so you have a sense of like when things are happening in Mountlake Terrace. And this is these are all not all city sponsored, but we're very involved in all of these events. So Andrew has done a good job of filling out the calendar this summer, so we'll be pretty busy, but that also leads to a lot of opportunities to be, you know, at a music in the parks event or something and meeting the community and things like that. So so I think you all have the list of proposed proclamations in front of you, and then if you want, I can jot down ideas as they come up, if you have certain thoughts. And then Andrew is here to help answer questions about like what's logistically possible, what's budgetarily possible. You know, maybe what's a heavier time of year for his workload, where it might be harder to fit in a bigger thing, but maybe a smaller thing is more reasonable. And yeah, anything you want to add about your?
No, I mean, kind of like you guys saw, the summer is definitely a hotter season for me just because weather here. For people outside and the community aspect. But that doesn't mean that it's not possible to do something in a different form, or depending on how much time and investment it does take. Some events can be run with one person, some take it on me. And so kind of looking at that and seeing really how we can support that aspect.
And we still don't know our budget, right?
We don't have a specific budget. I think, Andrew's working on a budget amendment for events. We do try to use sponsorships as much as possible, but they're not always reliable. So,
So now
but if there's some, yeah, I think, I mean, we can't plan like a tour to Terrace style event next year.
I want every month.
Probably not.
That's like, we can have $100, maybe we can figure out how to do that.
Can we
Yeah.
go back one slide? Thank you, yeah.
So in addition to these events, we are looking at these proclamations to come up with ideas.
Well, Scott and I were talking to the president of the mosque when we went to the ribbon cutting at the restaurant, which was amazing. But he actually said for Ramadan, he'd be interested in having like a banner of some type. He said the mosque would maybe even pay for the banner, something just to acknowledge that Ramadan is happening and when it's happening, and maybe have a banner a couple places in town to just represent that, you know, it is Ramadan and these are the dates and, you know, so I don't know what the process is there, maybe it's permitting or something, or,
We do have a banner code variant, and so that allows banners currently to be up for a 10-day period,
okay,
in the city. And so like for the National Night Out, we put them up on, over 220th on the fence at E3, going down at Terrace Creek and over at Lake Ballinger. The parks are with approval of Director Jeff Betts of the Recreation Department. But as a city, if it's a city sponsored aspect or a city banner, we'd be able to request that as well.
okay. And if we did the banner, is there a lot of cost involved with that, or?
Depends on size. Currently, they're right around $120 for a 3x6. More if you want to go bigger, really depends on where you're trying to put it, how many you want to have in the city.
Yeah, and he wasn't like super specific about
Yeah.
exactly what he wanted on it, but I thought that was kind of a simple ask, really, you know.
I'm guessing probably we will need to get approval from the city to see what the design is
Oh, yeah,
like,
of
right?
course, yeah,
And that's where it kind of comes down to if it's DEIC that is designing the banner as a city one, or if it's being brought to you guys, and making sure that the representation, wording, imaging, logos, and everything are on there. So.
yeah, all right.
And just our communications policy related to that is, we typically wouldn't be in the business of cross-promoting an event unless we were a partner. This sounds like we're trying to be a partner, so what would that look like besides hand in hand hanging a banner? Like, would we volunteer at one of their events to help?
Well, he really only talked about a banner.
Yeah.
And so I think his point there, and correct me, Scott, because you were there, if I'm misrepresenting it, was that just to draw awareness to the fact that it is Ramadan.
Yeah.
We have a mosque in our city.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Muslim residents here and, you know, that kind of a thing. And he wasn't actually asking for an event,
Yeah.
but, you know, that was really all we talked about was,
Mhm.
you know, he brought the banner thing up.
And was he asking for us to pay for the banner or just?
No,
No.
he actually volunteered,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
said they would pay for it.
Okay.
But then, you know, obviously we'd have to see it and make sure it was appropriate and.
But he also talked a little bit about an educational option as well, like here in this
Oh, like having some kind
in
of
the
a poster
yeah,
or
some sort of
something.
poster or something that brought attention to the celebration for anyone that came by the city.
Maybe in the library or something too. something
Yeah.
like that.
Or maybe and partnering with the library because they do
Right.
have those
Yeah.
educational resources.
Yes, I was just
Yeah.
looking down this list of, you know, where the library could be involved.
Mhm.
You know, Black History Month and Lunar New Year,
Mhm.
all those.
Mhm.
Do we have requirement size restrictions for any banner that we can use?
Depends on where you're putting it.
I just don't know where we can put a banner. I've never seen a banner in Mountlake.
So most banners that I get right now are 3x6. So 3 feet tall by 6 feet wide. Those can hang on most fences between poles. The bigger banners 40 feet by 4 feet, definitely more expensive, those are street banners. A little more liability with them, just if they blow down or come on a hinge somehow. But yeah, your standard banner anywhere between 6 and 10 feet by 3 to 4 feet, depending on really what you want to put on it.
And I'm not real clear about where if he wanted a banner to be near the mosque, or if he just wanted them to be in a couple places in town, so people would be aware.
And then, I mean, another opportunity is if, say, the council were to present the proclamation to the imam, and he could come to council and speak about what the holiday means and the cultural significance in a very public forum. And I mean, another opportunity would be if they were open to just a very casual and social visit by maybe the city council and the DEIC to just visit the mosque and like meet some of the leaders.
Yeah.
Just a social, or, I mean, we could do that before council meeting here as well, as like just have a little social in the lobby to welcome.
I actually had a discussion with the board, but I didn't want to talk about it because first Commissioner Francisco comes. Can I?
No, we can keep talking about this. Yeah, please.
So I actually had a discussion with one of the board members, and he said that we're open to all kinds of events if you want to organize dinner. But he said we will need a place to host a big dinner because our mosque cannot handle it. And he said, but if the city just wants to have dinner with only the board members, like as a first step, we can do that as well. So whatever the city is willing to do. So I wanted to ask the commission to see like which one would be a better idea, like organizing a big dinner event for the Ramadan and invite the community, or as this will be the first year, do we want just the commission, the city council, and then the mosque board members as a dinner?
I kind of like that idea, just for the first one.
Well, and raising awareness, and if the proclamation was presented at the city council meeting to the imam and talking about what the significance of that date is, starting to bring that awareness and taking steps instead of leaps to build those bridges.
I would just say that there are very few venues in the city that can host large like meals, unless they're going to rent a tent or something that would be professionally put out. And so that is another thing to consider when you're talking about a larger event.
It's really interesting because we were just at an
At
event right
when we went
down
to
the street here.
Shahi
Tandoor
Tandoor and
brand new place
and
just
grill.
opened.
The new place that just opened, they have a banquet room. And so, I mean, and that's where we were actually.
About 4 times this size.
Mhm.
large,
Yeah, so I mean, if
6
we're gonna do this, if we were gonna do the thing with the DEI commission and the city council and stuff, they probably could accommodate us there, because there was a number of us there, but we did not fill up the room, I mean,
Yeah,
and so,
Did they rent that or take that over from the church? It's right next to the,
it's right next to the noodle place.
and then Diamond Knot, and it's in that little complex
Yeah, so
between the
it's,
post office and the noodle place.
it's
Yes.
across from the post
Yeah.
office.
and so the part of it that's got all the curtains, that's
Yeah.
the banquet room.
Yeah,
So you go into the restaurant and then up a couple stairs and there's a big banquet room there.
So Calvary, I think, owned that at one point.
Oh,
And so they've had teen stuff there
That's on the
before.
back. That's
Different,
on the side.
yeah.
Okay, but I think at one point they owned the whole thing.
It's a really weird, the layout of
Yeah.
the piece of land is very
Yes.
weird.
You have multiple owners within that same
Yeah.
property as well.
Yeah.
Calvary still functions out of the back.
yeah,
Out of the backside.
yeah.
Well, I see the kids
Yeah.
walking.
yeah, and they did actually serve us a very nice meal.
Yeah.
And the food was really good.
That's really
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
Yeah, Andrew's been struggling, it's the only place in town that we can even host like an all-staff meeting for over 100 people is the Nile.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if over 100 people would fit in there, but you could fit
Well,
probably.
there was like 35 of us and there was so much space.
Do you think there were that many? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I would think, you could do 40 or 50.
Yeah.
Isn't the senior center have capacity of 100?
They have 107 without tables.
That's very
So if
specific.
you guys are adding
Yeah.
tables, it's a bit reduced by capacity for it.
So Nile is privately owned, right? Like we have, if we're using it, we have to pay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
And it's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this type of a meet and greet kind of a thing with them, I mean, I can imagine that may be a space they would want to use.
So how many council members do we have
7.
in the commission?
6.
Well, if that like restaurant banquet room can handle 30-something people, I think that would be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, so,
Okay, so,
and didn't the imam say that it's his
it's
brother-in-law
his
that,
brother-in-law that owns.
that owns the restaurant?
also, the owner is also part of the community, that will
Yeah.
actually
Yes.
Yeah.
add meaning to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, as
how
I
we
recall,
ran into.
there, they actually did their evening prayers up in a corner of the restaurant. So yeah, it's a family thing. So,
So then let's call this to vote that the commission is going to propose to the council that we organize a dinner for Ramadan with council, commission members and the board members of the mosque. Oh, I was supposed to
No.
ask for a motion, right? First? No.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're fine.
Do I have a motion for this?
I'm just thinking. Don't look at me.
And I'm not, we all of us practicality, let's just move this forward. So do I have a motion for this?
I move that we send a recommendation to the council that we perhaps for the event of Ramadan, have a meal with or on an event with the council, the DEI commission and the board of the mosque. To have some.
And does your motion also include the banner?
And I move that we also.
Just add in discussions about the banner.
Yeah.
An event
About the
banner.
banner, yes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
It's messy, but I don't know.
Yeah. So let's call to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, so commission is good to propose to the council the dinner and the banner ideas.
All right, can I, if I can, let me see if I capture this motion to propose a dinner with city council, DEIC, and the board members of the mosque around the time of Ramadan and discuss opportunities to help promote Ramadan with banners.
Yes.
Is that good? And who are the first and second motion?
For
Teresa
Teresa
was a
moved.
move.
And Vanita second.
Can we record this? I delete this recording. I don't want any evidence.
Yeah, it's not very good at portraying the council. that.
You go back and listen to it a year from now.
Like, there is no way we're gonna go back and listen to this. Okay, so, oh, go ahead.
Just within that, maybe be aware that because of Ramadan, they do have their fasting aspects of it.
Yes.
So you may try to propose that you do it prior to Ramadan.
Oh, no, when I discussed this with the mosque, the dinner was about the breaking the fast dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is,
When did it?
yeah,
Yes.
So the time makes a big difference and in
To the
April it's,
sunset.
yeah.
And I can ask the board again saying, hey, do you really want to do this like this late? Or do you prefer we do it just before Ramadan and we can leave it up to them?
Okay, yeah, and let's, if you wouldn't mind just giving staff a little time to work out, some details before we do the invite. We have to run it past city council.
Oh, yeah, okay,
And
then,
like, check our budget and so forth, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
okay. The next item was discuss school district diversity. Oh, are we done with the Ramadan
I
discussion?
think that's
Yeah,
what I
that-
want to talk about.
Yeah.
So music in the park, is that new this year?
Yes.
Okay, and is it
Cool.
like I've seen in other places where they, just having kind of weekly, like little concerts in the park there?
Yes, so the vision right now is to kind of mimic what Edmonds is doing in the Hazelnut Plaza
Yeah.
downtown. Where it's self-contained, small groups or individuals to be able to perform an hour to 2 hours set in a park or public space like our plaza right out front. We do have power, some parks don't have power access, and so being able to navigate that, to add a new non-thousand person event, but also less labor time, but still be able to engage the community in different areas of the city, as well as different styles of connection.
Okay, so that's great, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to those in Kenmore and then, so I do want to ask this because it's through my own sort of narrow lens, but I ask it in a more of a broad way. The Kenmore ones, me being Hawaiian, grew up there and a fan of Hawaiian music. Kenmore always kind of has at least one every summer of like a Hawaiian music concert. Is there any kind of, are you theming that? Is that kind of cultural thing? Like I said, I'm not just saying that we should have Hawaiian, I'm just anything, for
Yeah.
sure, is that part of what you're looking at?
So right now it is in discussions with the Arts Commission, as we're gonna do a call for artists and be able to have input, so it's not just one person, myself, selecting artists or groups.
Okay.
To try to make sure that we are diversifying through the music that we're getting as well as the artists. So if they already are necessarily down at Edmonds, well, we don't necessarily need to have them up here. Actually, we kind of want to space it out too, and working with the Arts Commission in Edmonds to know who they also have, to try to make sure that we are doing that. I think part of that process is acknowledging that we want to have music from different cultures and different backgrounds. We don't need a bunch of poor bluegrass artists coming every week and say, okay, well, year one was all bluegrass and people that didn't like bluegrass don't want to come here too. So yes, that is part of the vision as far as the call for artists for that.
That would be lovely to have a different culture of music.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best parts of these is that you can go to these and see a lot of different types of things. And like I said, I'm sort of excited about this one type of music that's there, but I also enjoyed going to the other shows and seeing a variety, right?
And kind of what that opens up too is also for other events such as 3rd of July that has a large presence, about 5,000 people last year. We can add in different elements to that as well.
Yeah.
Once we kind of get things moving and kind of have a basis for what the community feedback is from these kind of events to say, do we want to have a mini concert or two during 3rd of July while we have the DJ playing in a different area and have performance and stuff like that as we can expand and Lake Boundary becomes more accessible after the Hall Creek restoration. There's a lot to grow from here. We're starting very small this year with 4 events. And as you guys saw, we have 16 planned for next year. So that's kind of what I'm trying to take on is make sure the commission's having voice in it, but also trying to make sure we're already moving in that right direction.
Yeah,
To
the process itself has that in there, but that's, I'm really glad to hear that. And then also too, being a performer is kind of my day job, and it is something that's really important to me as well, so I'm glad to hear the energy to us.
When we do that call for artists, I'll make sure we pass it out to other commissions too, because we want to do that.
Before we go with the Commissioner Francisco, I forgot, we need to look at other holidays here, if we have any ideas. Am I allowed to give ideas?
Sorry.
Am I allowed to give suggestions?
Yes.
Okay. Because you told me I cannot move a motion.
You can't make the motion
Yeah.
because you're leading the discussion
Yes.
about it, but you gotta do everything else.
Okay, good. So for the Children's Day, I'm just proposing this just because of my childhood. The way, at least in Turkey, is celebrated, I would like a portion of it to be incorporated. I would suggest that it will be incorporated. One of them is the government officials give their seats to children, and during that day, for example, in the city council, there will be 7 children replacing the council members, and they will be asked what their vision for the city is. And newspapers and TVs will be called, obviously. I think that would be a nice way to have children feel heard and included. That's one idea that I have.
Can you bring up the events thing again? Yeah. I should have printed that page. So the volunteer appreciation and spring cleanup, where is that happening and who are partnering with that?
That is going to be currently set for the pavilion.
Okay.
As our spring cleanup, it may be moved over here depending on how it flows out, but right now our spring cleanup primarily is at the pavilion to do that area around it, part of the school, backside area, dog park and whatnot. Our last last one, we moved over here because we had like 75 people commit to it ahead of time, a couple large groups, and we have a lot more space to do it here. But right now, we're moving to have a volunteer appreciation every year to try to recognize that, and that's kind of the first event of our seasons. And so we were trying to start it there for everybody.
So would it make sense with Children's Day if it was here to have a way to incorporate celebrating children as that, or is it a separate thing for Children's Day? So for the volunteer appreciation and the spring cleanup, if that's happening, if that were to be here, is that an opportunity because families would already be participating to involve them in Children's Day in that way without creating another event? Was why I wanted to see the list.
That makes sense to me practically, but if I were a child and to celebrate me, you made me do cleanup, I would say I wanna go home. I'm just thinking myself, how would you react? You were like, I'm not buying this for anyone.
Okay, but the April 20th is because of Earth Day.
It's what?
Earth Day.
Okay,
And so there's a lot of stuff happening in schools surrounding Earth Day and like taking care of your environment and then asking kids, what is your vision on that day?
okay, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, they're totally separate events, but they could maybe collaborate to start with, is what I was just thinking.
No, I do think that will actually be efficient.
Would, in your, in Turkey, does this happen during an official like city council meeting type of thing? Or is it like a separate event outside of the official business?
Oh, it happens on specifically April 23rd, no matter which day of the week it is, and the president has to leave his seat.
Oh,
The president, the prime minister, the like Senate, they have to leave their seat. And then all TVs broadcast what the children have to say. It's just kind of funny sometimes, depending on the age of the child.
Well, could make the Mountlake Terrace news anyway.
Yeah, I actually wanted that. Like, it would be a good PR thing for the city.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be on that specific day. But that one makes sense because if I were a parent, and if you told me that in 1 month I have to bring, I should bring my child to like 2 separate events, I would pick one. So if we combine them in a way, I think that would be good.
The 23rd will be a Tuesday.
It doesn't have to be 24.
No, I'm just, so if that would.
Yeah.
And we actually do have a large group of youth that do come out from, we had a Girl Scout troop this year come out. We have staff kids that come out, we have high school, middle school groups that come out, so we could get even from that event, people who do come out, see whose parents are okay with them. Doing that would be a way to kind of also connect with kids who are giving back and also would have a vision based on giving back. So it could be a good place to kind of gain that connection as well.
20th is a
what's the
Saturday.
appreciation part of that?
That is a brand new event, that Knighton has suggested, so that is still in the works of how we're going to recognize. As we keep tallies and sign-in sheets from different, community service events. Reaching out to everybody who has signed up and signed in, just to give a little more than just the pizza that we usually do for those events. And trying to just make sure people feel appreciated for the work they're doing in the community, not just come out, give us some free labor, hang out with people, here's some pizza and go. So that, the full foundation of the volunteer aspect, appreciation is still in the works.
And then sometimes they've done swim passes.
Yeah, so every kid that comes to the spring cleanup or the cleanups will get a free swim voucher for that day to go to the pool and swim the recreation swim.
Nice. I'm yet to see that pavilion.
Take a stroll over there after this.
Any other events people have used for, go back to that, sorry.
So, Kermit, when you mentioned the Hawaiian music, like I just noticed this May thing. But I guess if there's already music here. Never mind.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be, may have thing, but, and also too, of all those mentioned there, Native Hawaiians are a pretty small group here. You know what I mean? I would look more towards, Asian American, just because there's a lot more. There aren't that many Native Hawaiians here,
I see.
so I wouldn't wanna, do something, but if it did somehow come involved into one of the music in the parks, I'd be thrilled. I'd be able to walk to a Hawaiian show, it'd be great, but certainly, just with the numbers, probably this year, I definitely wanna make sure the Asian American audience has their,
I see.
has their thing there.
Just because it's early in the year, are there any thoughts about Black History Month? And did anyone notice, I imagine the library probably does something about Black History Month, but I didn't look that up.
Yes, the Snow Isle does.
Is the city allowed to host like a potluck kind of events, or will that require Snohomish County food permit? Do we allow
Food permit,
food permit?
yeah.
Yeah,
And every person who's bringing food will have to get a permit.
I do not believe that we would be able to do a public potluck as liability would be on us for any intent.
Okay.
yeah,
Right. Yes, we could do some form of thing like that, but it would have to be made in the kitchen that has health permits already.
That makes sense.
Probably transported by.
Or you partner with another organization that,
Hmm,
like,
I-
schools can do potlucks in different ways.
I see.
Yeah.
Because my friends in February, they used to celebrate that Black History Month before COVID,
Mhm.
with a soul food dinner potluck. That's the only way I know how to celebrate this month. That's why I asked that.
it is always a good reason to celebrate, but.
Isn't that what was usually done in a Grange? Don't we have a Grange?
Mhm.
Yeah, like down on the Liver Border, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I don't know what to do in Black History Month.
I don't know if shoreline is.
Oh my God. I was just gonna, it says Black History Month, so that's full of information about history of the people here in the US. And I'm only speaking from the experiences that I've just had going to DC to the African American Museum there and over to Tulsa and documentaries and things like that. There's just so much information that I know about that. I don't know, is this the time to treat people to some of those experiences?
Well, and I wonder about, Black history in Washington State and Snohomish County more specifically, because I know there is history, but like many other things in Black history, we don't learn about them.
Yes.
So that might be an interesting thing to do a
Yeah.
little research about it.
We have a wonderful African American museum in Seattle. And
Yeah, I haven't been to it yet.
I mean, it could just be an educational opportunity for the commission if we wanted to do a field trip outside
Yeah.
the meeting.
Yeah.
That'd be
And
great.
just do some learning together
Mm-hmm.
and ask for maybe a private tour or something with the
Mhm.
leadership there.
But also I was thinking about in terms of deciding who to honor for the proclamation, it might be interesting to do a little research about
Right.
what African American residents have made history in our local area, you know? So, but yeah, that's a great idea. I haven't been down there and I'd love to see it.
Well, February's right around the corner. It's coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have two. There's Black History Month and Lunar New Year.
Right. Both of them.
Any more celebration suggestions, ideas?
The other, kind of not easy because it requires research and coordination and production, but, I guess smaller scale, but also important and informative thing that we could do is use the lobby of City Hall as a venue to share educational information, or like for Lunar New Year, we could decorate. They do a lot of decorations, so,
Yeah.
you know, we could decorate it for Lunar New Year and have sort of a, you know, this sort of this gateway of, you know, happy Lunar New Year. But certainly we could put boards in the lobby that talk about, you know, Black History Month, or, I mean, it's just another way to sort of think about sharing. There's some traffic through City Hall, and it's not the busiest place around, but, and it's something we could also put on our webpage, or share through social media.
I think to your point that we also have the pavilion that is
Yeah.
highly active. That you guys would have access to as far as being able to kind of spread the word, get information out there. Is that you have a large lobby that has hundreds of kids come through every day for
Right.
lessons.
Mhm.
People come in for volleyball, racquetball. So there is another resource out there that can also. be kept in
Daycare,
mind.
dance
Yeah.
classes, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, in that case, sounds like pavilion would be a better place than City Hall.
But
Yeah.
If we have to
you don't
pick.
one or the other.
Right.
Depending on the budget, if we have to pick one, pavilion seems to be more.
Well, you could put something smaller here, and then, but then if you, to do anything bigger would be, you wanna have as many people see it as possible.
So if you haven't been to the pavilion, go check it out so you can see the area.
No, I'm really curious about it.
Should go see it.
Mhm.
It's really.
One of my friends from Shoreline said, "Come, you have discount there because you're a resident." Like, discount on what? Like, I don't, what is pavilion? Like, what?
All the things, yeah. Swimming and rafting. Lots of
Just-
children's activities.
And just wait till you're on Medicare, and then you can get it for free. You've got a few years to wait.
See you. All right, any more, event ideas? If not, then Commissioner Francisco, stage is yours.
Okay. So I don't have a ton more info. I did like that last time we talked about partnering or connecting with the other DEI. So the city, the Edmonds School District encompasses Mountlake Terrace, Briar, Linwood, and Edmonds, and Woodway, and unincorporated Snohomish County. So there's 3 DEI commissions between Edmonds, Linwood, and Mountlake Terrace, to see if we had a table all together at the January Diversity Fair, which is on Saturday, January 27th from 12 to 4. And I believe there's a link. I think it's at the Linwood Convention Center. I'm not positive. I think they outgrew the biggest school.
I think I sent it something.
No, Linwood High School, sorry, it's at Linwood High School. So we can register for a table. And invite the other city DEICs to participate with us.
And what would you be doing, like an activity or just introducing yourselves, or? What would-
I think doing an activity and talking about the work of a city DEI commission and what it is, because it, so the January event is a Celebrate Diversity Fair, and so it's a district-wide culture fair.
Okay, so let's say we have a table and people come to us and say, "What do you do?" How do we answer that question? Are we mature enough to answer any questions that they ask?
We could put up placards like we did at National Night
Yeah.
Out, where people can make comments about what
Okay.
is diversity, what is inclusion, what is equity. That actually got a lot of people engaged like that.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
And then I suppose you could have one that's just basically outline what the mission of a DEI commission is in terms of just engaging them.
Well,
Community
and, yeah, and meet your community
Mhm.
people, because
Right,
if we all, I mean, different people signed up for shifts or, to be at the event. It's from 11 to 3.
Looks like the school is actually involved though.
Yes, it is,
Don't try to make.
which is also unincorporated. It's,
Especially don't try to make sense of Bothell.
it's,
Yeah, guys, 9012 is a very weird place.
Yeah.
Okay.
With what you guys just said from an event standpoint.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, National Night Out,
mhm.
those signs and stuff do take up space. So for 3 DEIs to be within 1 6-foot table. It's kind of just something I would caution you to think about as well. Especially with added space and see how much they allow.
I think we'd have to do shifts and they maybe have 3 people at a time or something.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if they only give you a 10-foot space and your table 6 feet, then try to make sure you're staying within whatever the ranges they allow per table. There's always those ones that like to scooch over a little extra than
Yeah.
each, so.
Andrew, could they be potentially collecting volunteer information as part of that? I know that's one of our initiatives that the city is to, give the opportunity for more volunteers to get involved. That would be maybe a good place to plug in with people.
At that event,
Yeah,
I would have to double check. I don't see why not, but I would have to check. I mean, right now ours is online, so we could have a QR to that volunteer page if people are looking to get
Yeah.
involved.
yeah.
I can also add in a category, which is if we have boards and commissions, but if we also have board and commission events specifically. Right now it's general event support, green team, National Night Out, Terrace, and dog park. And so anybody that, when an event's coming up, I just pull anyone for general event support that wants to volunteer. So yeah, we can definitely do something like that, or different QR codes for even, different pages where they can kind of learn more about it. Just have that accessible as well.
Yeah, we would be recruiting for boards and commissions then.
I mean, potentially, or even just, I know as we talk about doing more things, potentially needing more hands to help with some of that.
Yeah, definitely something we can do, and QR codes are easy to make and be put out there, so.
I think, you're asking about like, how do we describe what we do or whatever, the survey that you have online is, I know it's in question form, but those questions really get at, we're trying to solve the answers that you're providing to us, like what the barriers are that you encounter in getting services or, what you need in our community or what your experience is in our community and so forth. So, I mean, there is a window of, or I guess, there's a limit to what a city does versus say what other agencies do, but, certainly we're concerned about making sure that people, have access to affordable housing and can afford their water and utilities, and, that we're providing those services to people, and that someone can go to the rec pavilion and afford to participate, and, that there aren't other barriers of discrimination and so forth. So, I think if you look at there's gonna be an opportunity for us to think about all sorts of questions to ask the community as we get our consultants moving forward, but, I think it might be interesting to look at those questions again and think about like, oh, how can I bring this up when we talk to people? And we can work together on speaking points as well, and so you have them in your back pocket, not that you have to like read them or anything, but just to prepare yourself for those kinds of conversations.
I would be excited to rub shoulders with other DEI commissioners,
Yeah,
especially Edmund's been operating for quite a while.
I think Edmonds is the oldest.
Oldest, yeah, so it might be something.
Don't they have like a newsletter and all kinds of stuff?
I'm
I think I clicked a link somewhere and got
Yeah.
something like that, and I'm like, wow.
Myself to the staff.
Yes.
Over there. But would you like to seek volunteers tonight for this, or what?
If we have buy-in about, potentially partnering with, the other DEICs and signing up for a table, I will pursue that. And then bring.
Do I have a
back
motion?
info.
Do I have a motion to pursue,
Participating in the,
the diversity?
I move that we participate as a commission in the DEI fair in January.
Yes, thank you. Do I have a second?
I second it.
All
Discussion,
in,
discussion?
discussions, yes.
Okay, think you can call for a vote.
Let's call for a vote. All in favor of participating, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Any abstentions?
I would abstain only because the 27th is out for me.
I mean, it's possible I won't be available depending on some things, but I definitely want to participate.
I'm definitely out. Okay.
But your abstention is not against the commission
Not
participating,
against,
just
yes.
your personal
Yes.
thing. Right, okay,
Thank you for the clarification.
so it looks like it's a Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, so would you, now, do you want to look into like volunteers now, or?
If it is okay, I could send out a sign up genius. That way we can connect with the other commissions as
Oh,
well.
like
And
as a
if I
whole.
send it to Carolyn, then you can pass it around. Okay. I will do that.
Look at that sign up. Okay, we also have any more CLX in the presentation to strike. Okay, so. Carolyn already showed us the DI related events nearby link. So I guess it would be a good idea for all commissioners, just a suggestion, to like look at the questionnaire on the website for the diversity, to see what kind of discussions we can have with others. And also look at the DI related events nearby in the agenda or presentations to see what kind of events they're around so that we can plagiarize ideas.
Well, I think,
Yes.
and attend.
Build
and
on
promote
best
them.
practices is what we call
Oh,
it.
well. I'm more straightforward. When I talk like that, my son, I smell something. Okay,
So, we had our kickoff meeting with our DEI consultants who are going to be doing the equity plan. That's the Vita agency. And, part of their discovery process is to meet with you all. And, they use a council circle type of methodology, if you're not familiar. It is a very personal and intentional conversation where you set sort of community rules about how you engage with each other. There's everyone takes turns speaking, giving each other opportunity to hear and listen to each other and learn from one another. And they facilitate this conversation. It is a day long, all day. And we would provide food and a place and all those good days. And I'm hoping that you're willing to do this. It's a big commitment and we could talk about whether we have a regular meeting that month or not, depending on how much business we have. But to give you a break, we could also just make this the only commitment that you have that month.
there's some issues with those dates.
Yeah, the 28th.
28th is
Sunday.
I'm sorry.
because we just did the January 27th for.
They're all supposed to be Saturdays, so Friday.
Okay, so the correct date is going to be the 27th.
Yes.
And isn't that when we just talked about being engaged with the?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's out.
So, I don't want this to be scheduled around me, obviously, but February, I'll be traveling a lot internationally, so I'm not going to be here. Any of those dates, but I don't want it to be scheduled around me. So because that this is only one day.
Well, there's only 6 of you, so I think it's important that you can. If you can get everyone, that would be like.
I mean, if I can attend remotely, I can arrange the time zone.
How is it January 20th?
January 20th is open for me.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
the
I,
only.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
Well, on the 24th, I have my fundraiser.
You have a comedy night. You should all
Yeah.
come.
So I'd be busy that day. But
I'm supposed to be in Carnation, but I can probably get out of
So
that.
I'm gonna block my calendar for 20th so that I don't add anything, but
You put me down.
I agree with Karen, I don't want this to
Yeah, I
be
can,
around my
I'm
schedule.
gonna put it on
but
mine.
If the 20th works, that does work for me.
Yeah, if it works for everyone else, I'll change what I have.
Okay.
Sorry about
oh,
That's okay.
that.
It works for everybody else.
Going to Aruba.
Or what?
Oh, we're gonna make you stay home. from that.
You do comedy in Aruba in February? Yes, yes, I
You need some groupies?
So I'll check with Lily and see if that works with him, and Councilmember Murray, of course, you're welcome.
Okay, I wasn't sure, that would work for me tentatively as well, so.
so this is, we're planning only for the commission or and only council, council member Murray and not the rest of the city now?
No, it would just be for you.
Okay.
I would be there unless you really don't want me.
No, that's not what I was going for. I was
say
trying,
the same, I mean, it's more comfortable to not have me.
no, I was trying to make it exclusive. No, I'm just trying to understand.
The only other group that will have a circle like that is, we'll be recruiting staff for, sort of a staff DEI work group, and so that ultimately they'll have one as well. And then the, consultants will be meeting with council members individually to have individual conversations. So that's kind of like discovery.
Thank you for figuring this out, Carolyn.
Yes.
I assumed it wasn't that easy.
I guess I will name that we go through a reappointment process every year at the beginning of January, so, that I would love to continue to join you, and that is not fully up to me, that is a council process that we go through annually as far as, boards and liaison, or liaison for boards and commissions, so.
Does that mean that we'll lose, we could lose Carolyn too?
No.
She's our permanent.
For at least for the time being, yeah, Carolyn should be here, yes.
I saw you pick them last time. That was really interesting.
It's a fascinating process, so we do it by seniority though, so as the second, newest council member, I am lower on that list.
Oh, so people pick based on, their.
We do like round robin and we each make a selection and then we go around again, so it is an interesting process.
Okay.
So next item. Commissioners, okay, commissioners and chair reports. Do we have anything from our commissioners and chair?
Don't we just go around the?
No, so I just pull out people, okay,
Yeah. Okay.
Next time, keep your mouth shut.
Okay, I do have.
Okay.
We already talked about the ribbon cutting, and you can go, into that a little bit more if you want to, but it was really nice and it was good food. And it was an enjoyable event that we went to. Also went to the open house, and the one comment that I got at the open house, was from a woman who frequently apparently has concerns about there not being a grocery store in the center of town. I've talked to her a couple of times. But I actually sort of have a concern about that because, walking access to a grocery store is important for a lot of people
Yes.
who do not have vehicles to take them there. And so I guess and nobody has to answer this question right now because I'm sure there's been a lot of going around about it, but I mean, will there be a grocery store in the center of town? And how complicated is that, being that there's not private grocers around anymore? Kroger, Safeway, Albertsons is gonna merge. Would a PCC or something like that even serve that population that I'm talking about? I mean, I understand it's not an easy thing, but access to groceries is a thing, so.
I can just give you a couple speaking points on that.
Okay,
It is allowed in our zoning.
It is allowed.
It is allowed in our zoning.
To have another grocery store
have a
in the
grocery
middle,
store.
okay.
It's not that the city's done anything to prohibit. a
No, I
grocery
didn't
store.
think so. I think it's
And
just
the-
complicated.
It's very complicated.
Yeah.
And, there are 3 grocery stores not that far from here, so it makes adding a grocery store in the middle challenging from the market perspective.
Right.
And we need more people here to make it work.
But we will be getting them
Yes.
because we're adding that big
Yeah.
apartment complex where Rogers was. And so, I mean, I think at some point something's gonna happen, but yeah, I've been confronted by this person.
So
for a
we're
couple of this.
super aware and definitely understand that desire. And, it is part of our economic development strategic plan initiative as well.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't doubt that it was.
I just wanted, and I'm not trying to be defensive. I just
No,
wanted
no,
to
I
give
know
you
you're not.
information
Yes, no, I'm
as
happy to
a
have it
volunteer.
because
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't feel unable to talk to her about it, but, you know, she in particular is very frustrated about it, so there's not really a lot of information you can get in. And then, the other thing I was gonna say is that I did attend, another Communities Against Hate, event on the 26th. It was, they had a speaker that was talking about, white supremacy in Washington State. Well, internationally, actually, but, he did end up touching on the fact that we have a lot of, those activities that go on even in Western Washington, even though originally they were sort of centered in Idaho. But, what was more interesting was they had a panel and, had some really interesting presenters on the panel. One was a woman and her mother from the Snohomish tribe. The Sea Monster family, that is their last name. And then also a man who lives in, Granite Falls, he started an organization in Granite Falls called Change the Narrative. Granite Falls is East Snohomish County is kind of a difficult place for people of color, so I thought, wow, that's really something to do that. And, both of them, the message was just reach out to people, you know, and connect with your communities and that kind of a thing, but, it was an interesting evening. So that's
What's
my
that event called again?
It was, Communities Against Hate presents an educational forum to address hate and extremism. Yeah,
I think she used to have it.
here, look at that. Yeah, the keynote speaker wasn't the most interesting part. Well,
Well,
it was
tell us how
disturbing.
you feel.
His information was really disturbing.
Oh, I see.
Don't get me
That's why.
wrong,
Oh,
but, a lot of it's been in the news with like the January 6th stuff and those kind of things, so some of it wasn't brand new, and I've lived in this area of my entire life, so, but, no, it was really disturbing, don't get me wrong about that. People need to know about it, but, I felt like the other people were also really interesting presenters. Yeah, another person that was there, who was one of the keynote speakers is, Juan, Peralez, who's a part of a, organization called Unidos, which is, partnering with law enforcement and communities. And we have a Snohomish County, division of that, so anybody that wants to look at this, it just talks about their mission and stuff, but, yeah, it was good evening.
Commissioner Matsuda, do I skip you? Okay, Commissioner Matsuda?
I attended the African Leaders Workshop, that's put on, with the League of Women Voters. And that was fun. They had, dinner there and got a chance to meet a lot of people. And the workshop was primarily a financial workshop to help the community build an understanding of managing their finances. And the people had questions about voter registration and things like that then we had a chance to answer. Went to the Shahi Tandoor and Grill grand opening the other day, and that was pretty exciting. It was well attended, a lot of photos taken, and went inside. I didn't realize that they had prepared a meal for us, so we went inside and had a meal. And so I recommend it. It's a great food.
A local family.
Yeah, local family, and that's where we met Is he an imam?
I think so. He's the president of.
He's the
I don't know if he's the imam.
president of the board probably, or, yeah, Amir, Mohammed. Went to the open house as well. And spoke to some hip, younger people who wanted bike lanes all over the place. And I agree with that, the one on 44th at least, right? And because there's gonna be the light rail on the Linwood side. And 44th doesn't have that kind of bike lane that we have out here. Anyway, so. Yeah.
And Commissioner Francisco?
I did a couple of Girl Scout events with a lot of Girl Scout campers from all over. I was able to volunteer with the League of Women Voters for correcting signatures on ballots. So I sent out postcards for that. The Edmonds School District parent leaders hosted an event for all of the principals and parent leaders in the school district on November 7th. And earlier this week, I was able to help College Place Elementary with their vision and dental checks for the kids. And so it's a fascinating program, and it was exciting to see because they have been a dual language school in Edmonds School District for a couple of years now. And Mountlake Terrace Elementary, this is their first year having a dual language program in their school. So the kindergartners this year at Mountlake Terrace Elementary are learning in English and Spanish. And then next year they'll have kinder and first, and the year after. So College Place actually had third and fourth grade classes that were in Spanish and English dual language taught. And so that was amazing to see.
Okay, Commissioner Appeal?
I went to the Office of Equities, We the People conference at the Tacoma Convention Center. And it was absolutely amazing. I can go on for a long time, but two things I want to point out about it. So it was established by the legislature in April of 2020. And one of the things that was amazing is just the incredible support they have from the governor's office. It is a very well supported thing. And the other thing I really was impressed by it is that it's the commitment is at community levels. These are programs backed by the state that they come up with ideas and ways to help with diversity. Because one of the reasons they were established is that as Washington's population becomes more diverse, so does the increase in inequities. And so that's why they kind of exist to be part of the balance of that. And you know, I thought this being a statewide thing, would be these sort of statewide programs. They really aren't. They really are kind of, what does this community need? What does this community need? And they go from there. And it was just amazing. They have either they're going to, or they have already put a lot of that conference up on their website. I'm not sure. I checked a couple of days ago, they still don't have it. But they're saying they recorded a lot of it, and it was great. And I love what they're doing. And as far as applying it to here, it was just to get kind of why they're doing this and what they're doing, and how they're going about it. It helped me a lot, especially being new to this. So that was a great experience. And then I also want to mention that a Mountlake Terrace High School senior, Katie Larios, won the Washington State Rising Star STEM Rising Star Award, and which is awesome that one of our high schoolers did. She's also in the Feminism Club and the Latino Student Union. So congratulations to Katie Larios.
I need to add something to my.
Sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
what was the award?
The Washington State STEM
Oh.
Rising Star. Yeah.
Also went to CPAG. That's this. So what they would like us to do is to sign up for putting these up in local businesses and churches and things like that. So right here's a column just for the DEIC. So you would sign in by noting the business that you're signing in for, initial, and take one of these. So I said I'd bring it to this meeting and pass it around.
Okay.
So I've signed up for a bunch and I'm gonna take my. I've already been out to
Where are
the
we?
QFC and the.
So we asked the business, right? Can I put this on?
Yeah.
Or does the business already know that we're coming?
No, businesses don't know. You'd have to introduce yourself and ask if you could put this up and tell them what it's for. This is for the planning the next 20 years. City's planning the next 20 years and we're putting together all of this information and we'd love for them to have some input.
Does this have to be at businesses or can this be also? on
These are
stop
businesses,
signs,
these
et cetera?
Also
churches,
some apartments and.
apartments and yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So the biggest list is the business list.
Oh.
And I just sent those, I sent those, okay.
Sir?
Yes.
I did say that, yeah. No? Okay. Okay. Uh,
Since we're on the topic, I just wanted to share that, on the comp plan webpage, Vision 2040, they have now uploaded the whole open house. So if you click here, it brings you to the boards for the different open house topics, and then you can, provide input.
Oh, great.
Nice, right. Will that take us there?
oh, there's two sides.
Yeah, it's got two sides.
Yeah.
It should, because the web link was Vision 2044.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Do we have like this many businesses in Mountlake?
You see that list?
So
It's
basically,
huge.
it's like the same posters you saw there, and then there's a place where you can add your comments, like a little sticky note.
Got it. Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna write one in here, because, oh, here it is. Oh, somebody already put one there. Oh, no, they didn't.
I can put Azteca.
Churches.
I live by Azteca.
I live down the street from them, so, and
Are
with
you
my,
taking Azteca?
no, I'm not taking that second, I'm taking, Shea Ground Pear Bakery.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're down the street from me, and
Oh,
with my hip, it's sort of like,
So
Oh,
you would
DEIC
sign it
area.
under D, yeah.
with my hip, it's like the easiest one for me to do. Oh, there you go.
Don't take mine.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
No, but mine was the mosque board and we already talked about that, so I don't have anything new. Oh, so let's continue then. Staff report.
I think Councilor please.
Oh, I just like skipping you. I took it to the next level. I was skipping forever.
Okay, I probably talked too much as it is, so probably not a bad life choice, but, thank you for giving me some time. Vice Chair, and I mean, I will start with just congratulations to each of you. I mean, this commission is just, I'm so impressed by, again, all of the forward progress and each of you and the ways that you're plugging in and the good conversations that are being had here. A couple of things to share. I think one, kind of building on, state work in important places. So I went to a civic engagement summit that the Lieutenant Governor put on here for the state down in Renton here this last month. And it was a good opportunity to bring folks together from, all sorts of nonprofits, government organizations, elected officials, et cetera, to talk about civic engagement in all sorts of different spaces. And for me, that is both what I'm passionate about, but I also think it intersects really importantly with diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Because the decisions that we are making impact our communities, and the more that people who are impacted are involved in those decisions, the better we can serve their needs. And so it was a really good conversation. I don't want we had about the conversation tables, but so joined one about kind of local civic engagement. So kind of thinking about ways to do that at a municipal level, so in a city. And then I went to one about civic engagement and in K through 12 education, which I thought was also really interesting. And so they're putting together all of the feedback and conversation and are supposed to bring that back in a way that shared. So I will definitely share that when that comes through. But I do think thinking through, you know, how we can, and I think this commission was a really good example of how do we create on-ramps to participation for members of our community who maybe wouldn't have raised their hand otherwise. And so I think the volunteer question for me was similar, right? How do we develop relationships in spaces where maybe we haven't historically shown up and give people opportunities to learn what we do at the city, to develop relationships, and get comfortable leading meetings, et cetera, because that moves us all in a direction where I think more people are comfortable sharing their perspectives and raising their hands. So I thought that was helpful, and I will report back when there is more information there. A couple of things, I guess, from a council perspective that I thought might be helpful for you guys to be aware of. So we, since our last meeting, the council, reviewed a draft of our state legislative agenda. So that is essentially the legislature meets at the beginning of each calendar year. So the folks down in the to make decisions about things at a state level. And so we, as a council, every year decide what are the things that are important to us. We contract with a lobbyist to go down there and advocate on behalf of our community. A lot of that advocacy often centers around big projects that we are working on. So that continues to be our Main Street vision here as we look forward to next year. But there are also a host of policy areas that are included as part of our legislative agenda. So that is in draft form. So that was something you take a look at if you go to our meetings and you see the meeting materials. I think that's, you know, worthy of your taking a look if you have some time and interest. That will come back to us for finalization and a vote prior to that moving forward. Similarly, so we have a meeting tomorrow night. We have a public hearing for an ordinance for our 2024 property tax levy. So that is just something to be aware of, and I think it's the more we can do to help folks kind of know what's going on at City Hall, particularly when it comes to things that we often hear feedback on, like taxes. I think, you know, this is people's opportunity to come and share perspectives. We are also taking a look at a design and approval of design contract for Veterans Park. So the park that's right adjacent to the library. And so there's elements there that I think are connected to equity, particularly like restrooms and those sorts of things, but paths, et cetera. So that might be worth taking a look at with your lens as well. And then I think the other piece is we're gonna have another conversation around salary and benefit adjustments. So I think those are things that are upcoming that probably would be potentially of interest for this group. I will also say that we are likely canceling our meeting. So now we meet every Thursday as a reminder. I guess that would probably be a good thing to just make sure that they reiterate with this group. So now we meet Thursdays. First and third are our regular meetings, second and fourth are our work sessions. But essentially, if it's, you know, the first through the fourth Thursday, we will be here at City Hall at 7 o'clock for a council meeting. But we would likely want to be here next week for Thanksgiving, and we haven't officially do that yet. I think that is the big stuff. So, but I'm happy to, if there was other stuff that is going on or that you have questions about, I think we covered a lot of things that have happened. So I won't, you know, reiterate things from last night. I think you guys covered that well and doing good stuff. Lots of community engagement, which is really exciting.
I just have a couple of things. One, I will present your recommendations to City Council that you voted on tonight as far as your roles and the proposed proclamations on December 7th. Of course, you're welcome to be there if you want. I'll do the presentation. And then 2 weeks later, they would hopefully consider that on their consent agenda. And then next meeting, William had suggested, I think at a previous meeting, that it would be nice at some point to have Dr. Guzman from the school district come and speak to us, who is in charge of their DEI initiatives. And she agreed to come in December. So I know we talked about having a little social beforehand, so I could order in some food, and if you're interested, we can start a little early, like at 6:30 and have some food and have a little time to talk with Dr. Bisman, just, socially, and then she could make a presentation at the beginning of the meeting. Does that sound reasonable for you?
So December 20th, basically starting the same day.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good, it works for me.
Okay,
We'll see if
And
I
is-
open around enough.
are there any
Very
food
happy.
I'm
preferences?
having surgery on the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't have.
Any food preferences? Shall we try any of the new restaurants or?
Well, I think, we can certainly recommend the new. New one.
You already talked about it since like 2 days ago. She was at the open house, just raving about it.
Well, I think
we're two that were there.
it was
Okay.
so unexpected that when they said, oh, and we prepared this, and it was like, wow, it was like this huge thread, so,
Yeah.
yeah, the whole thing was impressive, just because they were just so gracious about, you know.
well, Wednesday is $9.95 noodle night at Vegas.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Dine
they
in
get out
only or
there.
take out food?
What's that?
Is that dine in only or take out?
I don't know. I haven't been there for that, but we ordered food and gone in and rent that. And the food's pretty good there.
And is anyone vegetarian, vegan, gluten free, anything?
No.
Dairy free.
Dairy?
Just no cooked pineapples, please.
Still a Canadian baked pizza.
Yeah, just don't call it a Hawaiian pizza.
An Italian from New England is like. All right, so let's see, I also in December I would like to do the draft proclamations for Black History Month and Lunar New Year, just so we have a little time.
Yeah.
And we might consider canceling our January meeting if we do the 20th. And I might start our conversation about our work plan for next year, considering usually in February, we go to city council with our accomplishments and work plan for the next year. So see how far I can get with that, but hopefully we won't have too many things on our agenda that night. We have a special speaker and it's a few days before holidays. So anything else for new business that night that you would like to see?
I have a question to Matsu. What is the deadline for this? Can I put this on Sunday? Would that be?
Well, yeah, no, we're not in a real hurry for it, but get it out in the next week or so.
Okay.
We want people to get involved. And thank you, by the way, for signing up for.
Well, some of those businesses just around the corner from my house. I'm just not going to do work. Otherwise, I'm lazy. You cannot make me go anywhere. So new business section is done. So then just how do I end the meeting? I forgot.
If there's no objection, I adjourn the meeting.
Oh, motion to end the meeting,
We
right?
don't need them.
Oh, okay. So if there are no objections, let's adjourn the meeting. No?
Hey.
Nice job.
Wow, really? I haven't get it out there.
And look what we did, it's only 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That expediency.
Oh, because
Doesn't.
when I know what I'm doing, it will actually end.